If you love ranged builds and leagues as much as I do, this is our year. Starting in Varlamore gives us one of the best new ranged weapons in the game. The Sunlight Crossbow is going to bring massive damage to the first day of combat. Today we're going to compare it to other similar gear, go over my route for how to get it day 1, and do a little theory crafting to see which tier 1 relics will help us grab it faster. So let's talk leagues. Okay, so here's a setup I think is totally attainable on day 1. To pair with the Sunlight Crossbow and Antler Bolts, we've got a full set of mixed hide armor. Not only is this set great for ranged and pretty much requires no skills to get, it's also a great hybrid set when switching from ranged to melee. If you don't want to craft the set yourself, all you need is about 125k and you can have it made for you at the Hunters Guild. Of course, the Rune Kite Shield and the Amulet of Glory are nice to have, but not essential. If you opt to skip the Glory and go with an Amulet of Power, which barely affects the DPS by the way, here are the skills we'll need to make everything here except for the Rune Kite Shield. That one will have to get a little lucky with the Clue Scrolls. But before we talk about our route for how to get these skills completed, let's look at why this gear is so good compared to other basic range sets. So if we still had Misthalin this year, you'd probably see a lot of people running around like the guy on the left, using the tried and true Rune Crossbow. But check out the actual DPS difference here between the two sets. Of course the Rune Crossbow can use enchanted bolts, so that's useful some places. But if we're just talking about early, day 1, day 2 combat, 21% difference is huge. In this game, we gotta take every percent we can get. So if you are absolutely dying to get into some ranged combat on day 1, here's a little route I've planned to get you there. To get to 72 Hunter, we'll mostly be doing Hunter rumors, but we'll need a couple early level methods to bridge that gap. Here's the route I thought of, and again remember, these all have to be things we can do inside Varlamore. Once you get to level 46, you should just be spamming Hunter rumors until you get to 72. Lucky for us, we've got a brand new fletching minigame inside Varlamore, and it offers some of the best XP rates in the game. Once you unlock Veiled Totems at level 20, you should do it all the way up until you get 74, until you can make the crossbow. Of course, along the way, as you gain access to better bows and better wood, you should do those for the best XP rates you can. There are some dead trees to the south of this area you can utilize to get your first 20 levels. Just make some shafts, short bows, and long bows, and it'll go by pretty quick with the multipliers. Now, crafting should be the easiest one to get done. Pretty much all you have to do is complete the Death on the Isle quest, which has some agility and thieving requirements. That quest reward will bump you to level 36, and then you can just cut rubies from this gem stall until you get to level 70. And while you're doing it, admire this guy who looks like he's wearing a diaper while you cut your gems. Again, if you happen to get a glory or an amulet of power a different way while you're doing this, even better, less grind. So let's break down the benefits for each of the tier 1 relics for these 3 grinds we have. Endless Harvest is pretty much only going to help with the fletching. It would be really nice to have endless logs when you're going through and prepping everything to start Veiled Totems. I think my only issue here is that there's still the obstacle of needing a good axe. Not that that's really that hard to get, but it does kind of limit how effective that resource gathering is. Now, Barbarian Gathering has a similar issue where it only really assists with fletching, but I think it'll make that grind way faster. Not needing an axe and pretty much being able to rip through any type of tree will definitely speed this up. Plus, you'll be getting that extra strength and agility XP while you're doing this. Now, not to say that this tier 1 pick has to gravitate towards this activity we're doing, but if we're picking one to expedite this the most we possibly can, I do think Abundance is the best pick. Not only do we get bonus XP for all those early game actions for Hunter and Fletching, but we'll be banking a ton of coins as we rip through almost 200 levels. I could actually see a world where you skip the crafting grind and use the money from training Hunter and Fletching to just buy the mixed hide armor. When it comes down to it, I have to ask the same question that I also ask when I'm picking my regions. It's not necessarily what makes me the strongest, but it has to be what's the most fun. For me, I know beating trees and rocks with my bare hands just sounds like a blast, so I'm pretty sure I'm going to be picking Barbarian Gathering. I hope today's video gave you some new perspective and things to think about this item. If you enjoyed, please consider liking and subscribing, and keep an eye out for more Leagues content coming out soon. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you later.